Welcome to my kitchen here at Trails N62. I'm going to be canning okra today. I've never canned okra before. Usually I dehydrate it or I freeze it. But I'm going to can it, and I've got a couple of different ways that I'm going to can it. I've got some okra in my garden, so it's going to come in little spurts, so I'll just be doing a few pints at a time. And this is what I have today. And I'm going to be canning it, and then as I get some more, I'm going to can it a different way. So there's a couple different ways I'm going to do this. Try out and see which one works the best. When I can okra this way, I'm canning this for frying, so that when I want to use it, I'm going to fry it. If I want to use it in soups or something like that, for gumbo or anything like that, I'm going to dehydrate it, and I'm going to use the dehydrated okra for that kind of thing. I could can it too, but dehydrating takes up less space than canning. So, but this is for frying. I'm going to see how this does. This method I'm going to use today is going to be dry canning. So I'm going to dry can this, and what I'm going to do is I'm just going to pack this. I've cut it up into 1/2 inch to 3/4 inch slices. I washed it, cut it up into 1/2 inch to 3/4 inch slices, and I'm going to be putting that into pint jars and dry canning it this time. Next time I'm going to wet can it, and I'm going to see which one works out the best. But this one I'm going to dry can. So let's get started here. Now I'm going to dry can these, like I said. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put them in the jars. I'm going to do pints. You don't want to pack these down there too tight. We're just going to kind of shake them down. Don't have to worry too much about don't want to pack them too tight. Don't have to worry too much about the head space. So we're going to leave about 1 inch head space, because that's about standard. I might just do 1/2 inch, but I think 1 inch, and then we'll get more pints that way. But kind of shake it down, and there it is. 1 inch comes up to here. And then we're going to put in 1/2 teaspoon of canning salt, or pickling salt. We'll wipe the rims with vinegar. And my jars are warm. They're not hot, but they are warm. And but the okra is not. So I'm only going to put tepid water in my canner, and this is what I like about my Nesco electric canner. It does 5 pints at a time. So if I've got something like this, you've got to pick okra. It will only last a few days in the refrigerator. Mine lasts a little longer because I've got some greening bags that I use that keep the produce fresher longer. And but so it'll only be a few days at a time. And even though I've got maybe 10 or 12 okra plants planted, and it will keep producing, and so I won't have an abundance all at once, but I will have substantial okra at a time. So I'll do 2 or 3 pints at a time. So my canner will only hold 5 pints. I've got 2 of them if I have a little more, but I doubt if I'll have that many at a time, because the okra needs to be picked, it needs to be processed. And I will dehydrate some probably later on in the year, but I'm going to try this canning it and see how it works for frying it then afterwards. So I'm going to see how many I got here. Okay. Well, it looks like it made 3 pints. That's about what I thought it would. I was hoping for 4, but it's only made 3 pints. And so my process is now, I've added 1/2 teaspoon of salt to it. Got about 1 inch of head space. I wiped my rims down with vinegar. Don't want anything on there. I'll wipe those down with vinegar and dry them off. Put the rest of my vinegar in my canner. And I have a Nesco electric canner. It'll do 5 pints, but I've only got 3 to do, so I'll do these 3. I'll put my lids on, the rings on, finger tight, and I will process these for 10 minutes for pints, 20 minutes for quarts. But I'll do this at 15 pounds because of my elevation, and so 15 pounds for 10 minutes. So I'm going to cap these off, and get them processed. Okay, I've got them in my canner here, the 3 pints. My jars were warm, but the okra was not hot or heated up, so my water in there, 8 cups of water, is tepid. It's not hot, but it's not cold either, because the colder it is, the longer it takes to work to heat it up and everything. But it is tepid. The purpose is not, you don't want to put cold jars in hot water. Take a chance of cracking them. But the jars were warm. I had them warm when I put the okra in, so they're not cold. The water's tepid, and I'm going to close her down, and we're going to lock it down and get it set and process these, as I said, 10 minutes at 15 pounds. And while I'm in there canning the okra, these are some green peppers from our garden. Evie's been in here diligently slicing up these green peppers and cutting them up so I can put them on my dicer here and dice them, and I will freeze them. I have canned green peppers before. I think the last time I canned green peppers was in 2016, and I'm still using those. So I use them for soups and stuff, but I found the frozen green peppers diced up are better to use, because when you thaw them out, they're still crunchy and they're still good, almost like fresh. And that's the best way I found. I do dehydrate peppers, but I have a lot of dehydrated peppers, and those are good for putting in soups and stuff, like dehydrated onions and dehydrated okra. But these I'm going to freeze, and I'll probably freeze them this year, and we'll see how my dehydrated peppers last till next year. Now, just a little side note, that was free, didn't cost you anything. Alright, so as you can see, the okra's done. There was a considerable loss of volume of the okra in doing it the dry canning way. I don't know, probably not enough but for one person, so if you're doing it for more than one person, you're going to be doing it this way, you're probably going to have to do it a quarter at a time. Now, I'm going to do it again when I get enough okra. I'm cutting a few stalks about every day. When I get enough to do some more, then I will try the other method of canning okra, see how that works out, and then I'll compare the two by frying them up, seeing how they taste and seeing how it works. In the meantime, I'm going to be doing zucchini. Now, you can do zucchini, can it basically in the manner that I'll be showing you, in order to, supposedly, what they say, you should be able to drain it and rinse it and roll it in your cornmeal and flour, whatever you use, and fry it, and it should make you fried zucchini. We'll see. I'm going to try that way. The other thing you can do the way that I'm doing the zucchini is green tomatoes. I'm not doing any green tomatoes right now. I'm waiting for my tomatoes to all be red. But when the end of the season comes and you're getting towards the end, you begin to see it's going to be a frost coming. Your tomatoes aren't going to all turn, and they haven't started turning. They're green. That would be a good time to try green tomatoes. It's going to be done in basically the exact same way as the zucchini that I'm about to show you. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to get our liquid mixed up. Now, the liquid is going to consist of vinegar, water, and salt. The one recipe that I have says that you use a half a cup of apple cider vinegar to 8 cups of water to 1.5 tablespoons of salt. You put all that together, you bring it to a boil. The other recipe says you use a half a cup of regular vinegar, 5% I think solution it is, regular vinegar with a gallon of water and 2 tablespoons of salt. I think I've got enough zucchini that I'm probably going to try it both ways and see which one works out the best. So we're going to do that. The first thing we're going to do, we're going to do the apple cider vinegar. So it'll take a half a cup of apple cider vinegar, 8 cups of water, and 1.5 tablespoons of salt. We'll bring that to a boil, and then we'll go from there. First thing I did, of course, is I washed and sliced my zucchini. I like to fry my zucchini sliced. You can chunk it. And I'm going to put these in wide-mouth jars. And you pack your zucchini in your jars, leaving an inch head space in there, and then we're going to pour the boiling liquid on top of that. Okay, I've filled these up with the mixture, and now I'm going to debubble them. Like I said, it may be a little difficult because some of them are pretty tight in there, but we want to leave an inch head space. Top off a couple of these. Alright, now we're ready to put the lids on, cap these, finger tight. We're going to put them on our canner. This is the one with the apple cider vinegar, and it's going to go in my Nesco electric canner. Now these are supposed to be water bathed, just so you know. I use the low setting on my Nesco. It's a water bath pressure canning, basically is what it is, rather than do a water bath. You water bath these, you bring your water to a full boil, and then you time it for, if you're under 1,000 feet, it's 15 minutes, and then you have to adjust for your altitude after that. I'm a little over 1,000 feet, so mine is going to be 20 minutes, but I'm going to do it on the low side. We'll be doing it on the low side of my electric canner, and I will do it for 20 minutes. Now, like I said, you water bath it. If you're above 1,000 feet, I think it's 1,001 to 3,000 feet, you add 5 minutes to the time. And there's a chart for that if you're above that. So if you're water bathing these and you're above 3,000 feet, then you need to check your chart. I think it's another 5 minutes after that, but you'd have to check your chart and see. I just do mine for 5 minutes because most recipes are given or below 1,000 feet. I'm a little over 1,000 feet, so I'm going to add 5 minutes to my time. So I'll be doing it for 20 minutes. It's a water bath process. But I'm going to be doing my low pressure canning on my Nesco because that's basically a water bath pressure canning, which is why I like this. Alright, I'm going to get those put in, get that started. Got the other batch of regular vinegar going now, and then we'll do that one. And there are my 10 pints of zucchini. I've got some more left, so I'm going to have to do another batch. But the ones on this side over here are apple cider vinegar. The ones on this side over here are just regular 5% acid vinegar. And we'll see what the difference is between these two recipes when we get them out and try them. But I've wiped these off, cleaned them off, wiped the rims, and I'm ready to put them on and put them in my canners again. I've got 2 canners. Each one of them will do 5 pints. So it will be on the low pressure canning side. And I'll let you see them when they get done. Now here we have our zucchini. We have the 5 with regular white vinegar, and then we have the 5 with the apple cider vinegar. And we'll be getting those, trying those out to see which one is going to fry up the best. Now my next step will be to do another batch of okra. I've got another batch. I'll be doing it in water. The first batch I did dry canning, and then the next batch I'll do in some vinegar and water mix. And we'll see which one of those will fry up better when we fry up the okra. For this part of the test, here's my okra picked from my garden, chopped up into 1/2 inch to 3/4 inch slices, just like what you like for frying. That's all cut up. And first thing we're going to do is we're going to make our water, our liquid, to put it in. We start out with, per 2 quarts of chopped okra. After it's chopped, I measured this out. I've got a little less than 4 quarts, so I'm going to just double the water. So for 2 quarts of okra, it's 3.5 cups of water. Put in 3.5 cups of water, and then it's 1/4 cup of apple cider vinegar per 2 quarts, and since I'm doing it for 4 quarts, I have 1/2 cup of apple cider vinegar. And then it calls for 3/4 tablespoon of salt. I use canning salt, keeps the liquid from getting cloudy and everything. Pickling salt, something like that. So for 2 batches, it'll be 1.5 tablespoons of salt. That's 3/4 of a tablespoon per 2 quarts of okra cut up. And we'll put the salt in. Then what we'll do is we'll bring this to a boil. Then we'll put our okra in. So we're going to bring this up to a boil. We'll be right back. Now once your water and apple cider vinegar and salt come to a boil, then we're going to add the okra, and we're going to heat it up for 1 to 2 minutes. Add it in there, going to get it all wet, heat it in the hot water. And we're going to set our timer for 2 minutes. 1 to 2 minutes is what you need to do. I do it for 2 minutes, nice round number. So we'll heat that up for 2 minutes, and then we'll put this into the jars. Now once our time is up, we're going to use a slotted spoon and we're going to fill our jars. And we're going to leave 1 inch head space on these, so we want to fill our jars so that they're not quite 1 inch with the okra, because we're going to fill them up with water, and we're going to do 1 inch head space. Now we're going to kind of shake these down a little bit. Don't pack it in there, don't stuff it in there, just kind of shake it down. A little extra one here. Now once you get your jars filled, a little less than 1 inch, because you're going to bring your water up to 1 inch to make it 1 inch head space, so you want that a little less than 1 inch. Don't pack it down in there. Just kind of shake the jar a little bit because you don't want to pack it too tight. Then we're going to bring the water back up to a boil, and then we're going to fill it in, fill the jars up to 1 inch head space, debubble, cap and ring, and then we're going to put them in the pressure canner. Don't forget to wipe your rims. Clean your rims off, make sure there's nothing on there, then cap and ring. Alright, just a little heads up. It's been my experience with most recipes, when they tell you so much liquid, it always seems to take more. Not always, but generally it seems to take more. So I did enough liquid for 4 quarts of okra after it was cut, and I only had 7 pints, which is not quite 4 quarts, but just shy of 4 quarts is what filled it up. It almost, well, it came out exactly 7 pints with the okra that I had. I did the liquid for 8 pints, and what I had left was just about a tablespoon of liquid after I debubbled and topped them off. So just a word of caution, a word of warning. If you're doing a recipe exactly like it says, it doesn't hurt to make just a little bit more if you're filling up with liquid, to have just a little bit more liquid than what it says, to make sure that you get enough liquid in your jars. I left 1 inch head space. I'm going to wipe these off with vinegar, and then I'm going to cap them and seal them, and I'm going to put them in my pressure canners. I've got 7, so I'm going to do 4 in one and 3 in the other of my Nesco electric pressure canners. I could do them all in the big pressure canner if I wanted to put it on the stove and heat up the kitchen more, but I'm not going to do that. Alright, they're in the pressure canner. I'm going to can these for 25 minutes. And I use 15 pounds of pressure because of where I live. Alright, let's see how everything did. I made up a batter and I fried the zucchini that I had canned. I fried the okra that I had canned. And I did 2 different kinds of okra. I did one without water and vinegar and the other with water and vinegar. The one without water and vinegar, been almost 2 months since I canned it. I just didn't like the looks of it. I just didn't like it. So fortunately I didn't do very many of those. I just decided it's a no-go. I guess people do that. That's where I got the recipe from, but I won't be doing that. It just didn't appeal to me in any way, shape, or form. The okra that I canned in the water and the vinegar, I did some in white vinegar, some in apple cider vinegar. I don't think it'll make any difference. You're rinsing the vinegar off. So the first thing you do is you put it in a strainer and you rinse it with water, rinse the vinegar off, let it drain, get the water off of it, and then you put it in your batter, and then you fry it. Now, one thing I will say about this okra that's canned, it's got a good flavor to it, but it is very soft. It's just soft. There's just no other way to do it. So it would be good for adding to soups or gumbo or something when you're just finished cooking it and you just want to put the okra in for the okra flavor. You just add it at the last minute because it's already cooked. It just has to heat up with the soup and it works just fine. Frying it, well, it didn't turn out the best. I got some right here. I fried. There's a little bit left. We've been eating it, testing it, and it's not great, but it's not bad. If you want some fried okra in the middle of winter time, and this is the only way you can preserve your okra. Now, I haven't tried freezing okra and then taking it out of the freezer and frying it. And I haven't tried frying my dehydrated okra. But this is canned, and it's not too bad. It's not the best, but it's not bad. It tastes good. You fry it up, dust some salt on it, it does taste good. Not great, but good. So I won't be canning any more okra. I'll use what I have. Come winter time, I want some fried okra. I'll be able to use this. I'm going to give me some fried okra. It is soft. As opposed to the fresh okra that I just fried up too, just for a taste comparison. So that's the okra. My analysis is, without the water, I'm not going to mess with it. I wouldn't touch it, but that's me. With the water, it's okay for fried okra. It's great for putting the gumbos and soups and stuff at the last, like I said, the last minute, when everything else is cooked, because it's already cooked. You just have to heat it up in there and it's soft. It does okay in the fry. The zucchini, what can I say? This I like. This fried zucchini, it turned out good. It just battered up and fried. Excuse me while I eat in front of you here. But that was worth doing. I'll get fried up through it. It too is soft. Okay? It is soft. So when you fry it up, it's not like fresh fried zucchini, but it's not too far off. But it's a good way to store it in the vinegar and the water, and it worked out great. That's worth doing. So if I'm not storing my zucchini up in the freezer in blueberry zucchini bread, I'll be canning some. I canned a bunch of it because I had a bunch of zucchini. I only had 3 plants, but I still had a bunch of zucchini. Zucchini makes when zucchini makes. I only planned on 2 plants, but the third one, you know, it was supposed to be another kind of summer squash, but turned out to be zucchini. Started them all from seeds. Got them mixed up, I guess. So anyway, that's it for the canned okra, the canned zucchini. I would guess, I haven't done it because I don't do green tomatoes until the end of the growing season, where I'll harvest my green tomatoes before the frost comes. And I might try canning some of them up this way. They say they'll turn out much like what the zucchini. And if it turns out like the zucchini, we're talking fried green tomatoes in January. So I'm going to try that, and sure, but I'm pretty sure it'll turn out the same way because basically it's the same constitution as the zucchini. That's it. From my house to your house. From my kitchen to your kitchen. God bless.